Mentioned that Shushin was the doubles champion in 2015 with Zhendong. He was also the mixed doubles champion 2 years ago in Suzhou. So quite clearly somewhat of a doubles specialist. They refer to him, his nickname is the Anaconda. And I can see that actually when I watch him play. He's very sort of lithe, he can contort his body, and he has a remarkable ability to stretch and just get his bat on the ball. So this is going to be a fascinating final. The doubles specialists with their backs to us, the two Japanese players. Morizono with the service, left-handed. How about that for the first point?
Not a bad little opening exchange. A little bit better than a push-to-push rally.
Morizono, Oshima had a tough semi-final, beat the two players from the Republic of Korea. They've got a great record in the doubles. As I say, they came here just to play in this event. They were the 2015 World Tour Grand Final champions and runners-up in the same event 1 year later. So clearly a very competent pair. Had some great results on the circuit over the last 12 months. And indeed came here seeded #1. It's been very interesting, Gavin. I'd be interested in your opinion. They have a system whereby you win tournaments. How well you do, you acquire points. But then, of course, we've got the anomaly where two players come together very late, and they may, in fact, be #1 and 2 in the world, but because they've not played together, they don't get a high seeding. But I can understand exactly the principle on which it's based, but it's interesting. What's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I think when players of Timo Boll and Ma Long's character, and caliber come in, top 8 in the world in singles, I feel sometimes they should be given a dummy ranking, possibly of a top 8 seeding, to stop, two very strong pairs being drawn against each other in the early stages. And I think that would be fair for everyone else in the draw too.
Makes a lot of sense. I don't think anybody would argue with that principle. I think the two players you referred to, Ma Long, Timo Boll, was seeded 17, something like that, which of course if you were seeded #4 and drew them first round, you wouldn't be very pleased, would you, to have such a fantastic pair first round of the knockout stage. So meanwhile the action continues in this gold medal match, and it's even Stevens at the moment, 4 points each, and there's been some great rallies.
And what you're seeing here, some of the big loop-to-loop exchanges, as another one you see clearly on the screen there. Morizono and Oshima have been doing a huge amount of doubles multi-ball in the last week, obviously being the doubles specialists here. And it's fascinating sometimes in the doubles multi-ball how you need two coaches to feed, one from the left and one from the right, to exaggerate angles. It's been really interesting watching them in the practice hall over the last week.
Well placed there, Shushin desperately trying to get his forehand in from wide on the backhand. It was a great angle from Japan, and so China lead 6-5. Japan are having probably their best world championships for a long, long time. Two men in the quarterfinal of the singles. They've already got the gold medal in the mixed doubles, guaranteed medal in the women's doubles. Here they are in the final of the men's doubles, and they have a medal in the women's singles. So it looks like they're going to medal in all 5 events, and certainly with 1 gold medal in the bag already.
And that's fascinating for table tennis enthusiasts around the world. We don't just want one country dominating from start to finish.
So Great shot by Oshima, held his ground, punched the ball with his backhand on the diagonal. Oshima ranked 22, just gives a little signal, I should say, to Morizono. Morizono ranked 63. I commented in the semi-final when they played Jung Young-sik and Lee Sang-soo. Their celebrations are the loudest I've heard this week. Little Morizono there raises the roof. Great to see. Every sport needs characters that are very enthusiastic. A double shriek there from Morizono, and it deserved the double shriek. It was a great backhand down the line. So Japan now 8-7 in the lead.
Didn't actually expect Morizono to miss that little lob. Look at the energy he gets on that first receive.
In fairness, he was trying to keep it deep, wasn't he? If you don't keep it deep against any player, but certainly the Chinese players, you're struggling. So he was trying to get it on that white line, just overhit it.
That's definitely the way to celebrate and get yourself pumped up. Sometimes these guys, they're shouting there so that they can get the legs going and get the adrenaline pumping through the body.
So here he goes, the left-handed Morizono. Oh, Fan Zhendong there, super. The ball was well placed into his body, but how quickly he moved, we'll see on the replay here. Just look how quickly he moves. Short step, but then he gets him that forehand topspin. And what a good angle he got as well. But it's anybody's game, 9 points apiece. You could argue China's slight favourites as they have the service. The service isn't quite as effective in doubles as it is in singles. Quite clearly, you know the ball's coming in one half of the table as opposed to anywhere on the whole table. Oh, he'll be disappointed there. Oshima had a chance to make that backhand down the line. Game point, China. He's nodding. He knows that's the right tactic. So important to understand when you've played the correct tactics, even though you've not won the point. Oh, good topspins from Shushin, Fan Zhendong. They take the first game, 11 points to 9, 1-0 to China. We'll be back soon. Six winners for the two Chinese players as opposed to 2 for the Japanese players. Probably that was the one telling statistic that came up then on the match analysis. The players back now, words of wisdom from the two coaches, and it's Shushin to serve at the start of the second game. Fan Zhendong there just signalling under the table the service he would like Shushin to do. A slight movement from one of the cameramen there that distracted Shushin. The umpire just asking them to keep still. I have to say, having the umpires here and the assistant umpires doing a great job. It's not easy when you've got pressure situations, difficult decisions to make, but the two officials in charge of this final doing a great job so far, and I'm sure they'll continue to do so.
And in Germany, you always feel that everything's well organised. The call area that the players need to go to 20 minutes before the match. Everything really well structured and organised, and that just paves the way for a smooth tournament, keeps the players relaxed as they get focused for the matches.
Morizono with the serve. Japanese team there all sitting together, supporting Morizono Oshima. Excellent play by the doubles specialist from Japan. We're talking about how well the Japanese team have done here and how well they could continue to do. There's still quite a few games to go before we finish these World Championships, but they've got such strength in depth as well, haven't they? To think these two guys didn't play in the singles, couldn't get a spot in the 5 singles players. They've got a 13-year-old boy who's now in the quarter-final. It's just incredible. Certainly everything's on track for 2020, the Olympic Games in Tokyo. If the preparation of their table tennis team is anything to go by, we're going to have a very successful Japanese team, Olympic team, competing in the 28 sports on the Olympic programme.
Really important for all players here when they make up their mind to play short, that they try and play with a little bit of extra backspin, because all 4 players are very capable of flicking out strong.
Shushin, 27 years of age, with the serve. No spin on the serve. Morizono lifting what he thought was backspin, so the ball goes off the end of the table. It's a tough question, Gavin, but do you see Fan Zhendong as he's the youngster, he's the 20-year-old? We've got Marlong, 28. We've got Shushin, 27. Do you see Fan Zhendong stepping into those footsteps fairly? I mean, he's number 2 in the world now. Do you see him Olympic champion, world champion? Do you see that as a possibility?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he was starting to win Pro Tour events at 16, 17 years old, and it's always that general progression from the Chinese players that by the age of 22, 23, they do become world champion for the first time. By their late 20s, they're then looking to try and win World Cup and some of the other big events by then as well.
So, of course, these 2 Chinese players still in the men's singles. We'll be seeing them in action later today in the quarter-final of the men's singles. But it's Japan who lead in this second game, 7-6. China, of course, having won the first game, 11-9. Fan Zhendong with his second serve. Not sure if that hit the edge of the table. It was certainly not a clean bounce. Even the Anaconda couldn't get to it. 8-6, Japan lead their serves. And it's going to be Oshima with the serves. Shushin with the return.
A good little bit of dialogue just before the service there. So there was a lot of clarity between the 2 Japanese players.
Fan Zhendong in with a good topspin over the table. And now Xu Xin with the serve. Fan Zhendong just giving the signal, letting Xu Xin know the serve he'd like him to do. Morizono looking to be positive. It was an awkward serve. The second bounce, would it have been on the baseline? Would it have been over the baseline? Morizono committed himself to play over the table. And it's a timeout. I suspect called by Japan. I didn't see the call. I can't imagine China would have called a timeout there. My thinking would be 9-8. It's a pivotal moment. We need to be 1-all. We can't afford to go 2-1 down. We're up against the number 2 and 3 in the world. China just won a couple of points. Let's break that momentum. Interesting to have a look where the ball's being placed. Pretty much evenly distributed around the table, with the exception of 0%. There's nothing going.
They serve, and how early they take the ball when they try and touch short.
Unlucky there. Japan did everything right. Gave themselves a chance. Watch the return here. Top of the bounce. He gets in with that wristy backhand, and then Oshima has a chance to make that forehand. And now, of course, it is Japan with their 2 serves to come. Slight advantage. Probably looking for a short, tight serve. Force Fan Zhendong to play over the table. And then Oshima in with a strong topspin would be the order of the day. Wasn't quite strong, but it was clever, it was well placed. And so Japan now with a game point to level this final at 1 game apiece.
The way he sneaks up to the table here, his service delivery.
What a rocket. How early did Fan Zhendong take that? You told the youngsters who are watching how early they can take the ball. But I'm not sure if that bounced. Let's have a look again. Here he comes now. And he actually came across the ball as well to put side spin to take it out wide, to give it that extra width. Alternate serving now. First pair to win 2 clear points. And again, it's Japan with a game point. Second game point. As you look around at the crowd, you can see there's no empty seats, or very few. Oh, again, Fan Zhendong. Staying close to the table, taking it early, placed it well, straight down the line.
It's that split-second decision. You know, some people at home might be saying, oh, he hit the racket there.
Morizono celebrates accordingly. Very positive return of serve. Maybe not the best serve from Xu Xin, but what a lot of wrist he got into the return action there. Third time lucky maybe for Japan. We're just about to find out. Just overhit the forehand topspin. 12 points apiece.
Carving right round the side of that ball, which helped Fan Zhendong actually stay in the point as well. That gave him a little bit more time had the ball come back onto the table.
Fan Zhendong with the serve, gets instructions from Xu Xin. It's a good flick from Xu Xin. Look how wide he is. He's It's almost gone past the net as he's made that shot. Great to see that on the replay. Just look how far. There he is. He's almost on his opponent's side of the table. Game point, China. Oshima with the serve. Stamps on the floor. Shushin. It's about as angry as you see him get. So important to stay composed, to stay cool. Focus on the next point. Clever push from Fan Zhendong, took it deep into the backhand.
That was clever because I think he was going to struggle to hold on short. So if there's that element of doubt there in holding on short, you're better to hack it out long.
Morizono facing a game point. 14 points apiece. Fan Zhendong.
And that was super again, stepping right round. That's the benefit. Your partner going to be following up next. You can go for big shots like that, knowing that you don't have to recover to play the next shot yourself. It's these juice sets that are pivotal when you play against the Chinese players. You don't get that many chances against them.
And there it is. China win the second game. Wang Hao's on his feet, clenched fists. China lead by 2-0. We are now ready for the third game. The match stats there, not much between them, but you wouldn't expect that when it was so tight in that second game. China lead by 2-0. And indeed, I've just taken the first point. I know you played a bit of tennis in your younger days, Gavin, and played it very well. Same club, same time as the Murray brothers. Obviously in tennis we do have double specialists, we're fully aware of that. Do you see that trend coming into table tennis? Because we've never really had people who specialise in doubles. Quite clearly here we've got 2 Japanese players not playing singles, focusing on the doubles. But you don't see that very often.
Yeah, well, what's great in table tennis on the World Tour stage, obviously there's, what, 15 or 20 World Tour tournaments throughout the year, is there's at least 8 players allowed for every association in singles. So some of these guys, yes, they're known as double specialists here, but they do get the opportunity to play around the World Tour in the singles events, week in, week out too. And that can also improve their double skill.
Oshima there missing the backhand down the line. Scores now level at 3 points each. Another pair that springs to mind, of course, going back a little bit in time, was Werner Schlager, of course, won the World Championships for Austria in 2003, but he had a great record with Carl Jindrak. Carl now is the, I think, director of events for the ITTF, but he performed incredibly well with Werner Schlager, probably better in doubles than he was in singles. Is that a fair comment?
Yeah, and Carl Jindrak obviously being left-handed, you know, that was good for Schlager, complementing each other, the right-hand, left-hand combination. And being from the same country, you have the opportunities to practice week in, week out.
Fan Zhendong just missing the edge of the table. A 2-point lead for Japan. Unlucky there. Oshima did well to return that net cord, just couldn't keep it tight enough, but nevertheless a great effort. Just sense that this is just not quite going Japan's way, but when you look at the scores, 11-9, 2-point margin. Second game, 16-14, 2-point margin. Couldn't be closer, but somehow you just sense that China just have the upper hand.
You always feel that the Chinese players are capable of winning sets more comfortably as well. So when you do have a deuce set, that's your opportunity, and you feel you have to take those sets.
That was a great forehand topspin by Shushin. Just look at the placement of this. There he goes, and then into the body, and you can see Oshima leaning backwards. The placement was perfect. A further 6 points, the players towel down. It's also interesting to watch Shushin with the penhole grip and the developments with the penhole grip in recent years, or the last 10 years, that the penhole grip player used to only use one side of the racket, and then we had players like Ma Lin coming along who suddenly, as a penhole grip player, used both sides of the rackets, developed a great technique on the backhand side. And that's exactly what Shushin does. And we have two penhole grip players in the top 10 of the world, Wong from Hong Kong and Shushin, who are actually great friends and help each other along.
And then in contrast, you have one of the top Korean coaches, Kim Taek-soo. He's here as well from the old style. We're just playing with one side.
But again, that's a really interesting point, isn't it? That when you look at the history of the Republic of Korea's table tennis, it's outstanding. Olympic champion in '88, when table tennis made its debut in the Olympics. Yoo Nam-kyu, penhole grip player, only used one side of the racket. 2004 Athens, Roo Sung-min, again penhole grip player, only used one side of the racket. Gold medal in singles, but yet they're here. They haven't got a penhole grip player in the team. They've got them sat on the bench coaching, but they haven't. I've seen Roo Sung-min here. I've seen Kim Taek-soo. I've not seen Yoo Nam-kyu. That's a lovely shot by Oshima, straight down the line. So again, we're heading for a nail-biting finish to the third game. We've had a nail-biting finish to the first and second game. It's a well-guided shot by Oshima.
Morizono as well, really pumped up there, winning that point. He looked right at Fan Zhendong, saying, yep, a little bit more of that, please.
Morizono will be disappointed by his high standards. That was an unforced error. You'd expect him to make that one. Remember, it will be China to serve at the end of this third game, so this is a big point. China took the pace off the ball, spun up the back of the ball, spin rather than speed. And of course now we have 9 points apiece, but China with the 2 serves to come. Xu Xin, I'm sure here, will see him just keep it tight. Left-hander serves with his forehand. Fan Zhendong then has the whole of the table at his disposal. Oh, good topspin straight down the line. A wry smile there on the face of Oshima. The doubles specialist, Xu Xin, current holder of the men's doubles title and the mixed doubles title at the World Championships, serving. And then the flick into the body of Oshima. You can see what that means to Xu Xin. China now lead 11-9 and we'll be back shortly for the 4th game. Fourth game, and it is Xu Xin to serve. It was interesting looking at the statistics, Gavin, that the percentage of points won on service in both cases, in the case of Japan and China, was less than 50%. And sometimes you look at that and you think, why? And it could be trying to do a little bit too much on the return of service. It could be that we're not getting enough variation with the serve. We're serving short every single time and we're not breaking it up with the occasional long serve. Any thoughts on that?
I know for sure that Morizono and Xu Xin have got fantastic left-handed fast serves, and you think that they would like to chuck 1 or 2 of those in during the match to keep the opponents guessing, because the quality of receive goes up if you know that the serve is always going to be short. You can jump in early to take the ball and nip it right off the surface. So yeah, I want to see that from someone before the end of this match, a little fast serve delivered in. Sometimes in doubles as well, you can, out the corner of your eye when you serve, you can see someone moving across, and at the last second you could then deliver a long serve.
Good shot there by Morizono. 3 points apiece. I think the point you made there is really highlighted now. I think we've got Oshima serving to Xu Xin, and just look where Xu Xin is standing. So he's over the table, he's almost down the side of the table. If you look at his right foot, exactly as you said, he's able to stand in that position, knowing it's in 11-9. All 3 games were 9-9, and yet China now leading 3-0. And then you think, well, is that because China are better? Is it because they are better under pressure? They're mentally tougher? How do you say? How is it they always win? Not always. How is it they win a very high percentage of close games? What do you put that down to?
I always believe that they are looking to make something happen. At 9-all, they're not happy just touching short and hope for their opponents to miss. A lot better to be attacking when you're at these tight situations in a match than trying to react. It's much better being proactive rather than reactive when you get to these big important moments of a match.
Pressure, they're mentally tougher. How do you say? How is it they always win? Not always. How is it they win a very high percentage of close games? What do you put that down to?
I always believe that they are looking to make something happen. At 9-all, they're not happy just touching short and hope for their opponents to miss. A lot better to be attacking when you're at these tight situations in a match than trying to
Of course, they won that title in 1989. Again, Japan with a lead as we move towards the business end. We're not quite at the business end yet. 8-5. A useful 3-point lead now for Japan. Oh, 7-5, sorry. There must have been a let call on that last point. Great topspin. The Japanese topspin didn't seem to go over the net to me. I don't know what happened there. I thought that was amazing, but then the counter topspin from China was quite superb. Well, it was 8-5, it's now 8-6, so they were a bit late putting the point up on the board.
A little bit better. Morizono really quick to get in and touch short, which then meant that it created a little bit of time for Oshima to come in with that big flick.
Four game points, Japan. Surely this time they're going to get one in the bag. Morizono just checking he understood the signal. And that was a great return of serve. Good wrist from Morizono, returning on the diagonal. And Japan take the fourth game, 11 points to 6. China lead. Players now ready to start the fifth game. Morizono with the service. Backhand topspin from Oshima, just lifts it a little bit too much. Good flick there into the body of Shushin.
Good link up there. You notice how far they move after they touch short. They're getting out sometimes 1 meter from the table before they then come back in for another short touch. There's a lot going on in the quad muscles.
fair bit of side spin on the ball from Fan Zhendong, which means there's not as much top spin. You've got to lift it a little bit. There it is. This is the one. There, that one. And then almost backspin. Lift it.
You sometimes see Timo Boll playing that shot as well when he's round the corner and he gets jammed a little bit and the ball's close to his face. He plays that little reverse sweep across the ball, and yeah, you're right, that a lot of the time there's a little bit of backspin and side spin that's transferred to the ball.
Great flick there from Morizono, 4-2. Japan in the lead. You have to admire the Japanese players. 3-0 down against the number 2 and 3 in the world. They just come out for the fourth game, fight for every point. Don't contemplate on the past, focus on the next point. Morizono shouting again. It's great to see. I think it's great to have characters like this. Shushin with the serves. And we talked about the penhold grip versus the shake hand grip and the developments of the penhold grip. The one advantage of the penhold grip is it automatically gives you a loose wrist when you're serving. And of course, what happens now, the shake hand grips have a different grip now for service on quite a few of the serves, just to give them that extra little bit of wrist action. Then they immediately have to change back. But again, we saw there the penhold grip, just fast accelerating racket, brushing the ball, heavy backspin. China now back in this fifth game, 6 points each. Of course, must-win game for Japan. In fact, they have to win the next 3 games. China just need to win 1. Well placed. Shushin's very strong from out the backhand side with his forehand, and he seems to be pinning Oshima into the body. Just have a look again. There you can see he ends up on the floor. He's trying to scramble to his left to get out of the way to get the shot in. Ends up falling over. That's how well placed the topspin was from Shushin. 4 points now away from the gold medal, the World Men's Doubles title, which of course for Shushin will be retaining the title.
Just seems like he has so much more time than other players when he steps round the corner. Gets round there, drops the shoulder, and makes sure that the racket is well behind his back to add that little bit of deception to the shot as well. What direction is he going to hit at the last second?
Oh my goodness, well played Japan. And Morizono with that topspin down the line. I'm surprised he's not raising the roof now with his voice. That really was outstanding. Here it comes from Morizono. Look at that. He almost sat on the floor, looked like he was doing a full squat. That was clever there. We were talking before about the occasional long fast serve and how effective it can be. Classic example. Don't do it often, 1 every 4, 5, 1 every 6 maybe, but you've got to throw the odd one in, otherwise life becomes very predictable. And when you become predictable, then it's a lot easier to play well against a predictable player. He likes that, Morizono. And why shouldn't it? It was a great smash down the line. And when the ball's up in the sky like that, it's bouncing 6 foot above his head. Not the tallest of players. Certainly got one of the biggest hearts I've seen. Push from Zhendong was a little bit high. 2 game points now for Japan.
And we know how dangerous the Chinese pairing are when it gets back to deuce. So Morizono, Oshima will be desperate to win one of these next 2 points.
Umpire calling the players back to the table. They're fully entitled to use the towel. It's after every 6 points. And so Shushin with the serve to Oshima. Oh my goodness. Look at that angle. That's from the middle of the table. When your opponents play to the middle of the table, it cuts the angles down that you can get, but that was incredible. 1 game point saved, 1 remains. Shushin serving to Oshima. The return was too high, he misread the spin. I think he thought there was backspin on the ball and he had to lift. Good deception from Shushin. It's not about putting excessive spin on the ball, it's about deceiving your opponent into what spin is on the ball. In fact, if you put no spin on the ball and you deceive your opponent to think there's a little bit, that's a great serve. So, 10 points apiece. Alternate serving, first pair to win 2 clear points. Oshima serving.
And again, it's the Chinese pair looking to make something happen. There was no way they were going to touch back short, and then they're not dictating play.
When you look at the 3 games they've won, 11-9, 16-14, 11-9. They're the masters under pressure. Zhendong with the serve to Morizono. Oh, what a return! The service was a little bit long, and that was a championship point, a world doubles title point. And look at that. Masataka Morizono at his best. Shushin. Oh, Zhendong over the table. It's amazing how much power he can generate. Elbow, wrist. Wang Hao looking on, the Chinese coach. But it is a second championship point. A gold medal point. Shushin serving, little signal from Zhendong. Here we go, second championship point. And there it is, Zhendong, Shushin, the world men's doubles champions here in Dusseldorf. I think I may have saw a tear in the eye of Wang Hao then. It's one thing doing it as a player, it's equally rewarding being the coach, working hard with your players, seeing them win the big medal. And there's Wang Hao, what's he doing? He's coming out with a flag, I think. He's got carried away with the emotion, why not? He was a great player, but let's not remember what a great performance by the 2 Japanese players, ranked 63 and 22. They came here just to play in the doubles. They came within a whisker of winning that title. But there we have the winners, the worthy winners, I think, Gavin.
Taking all of the close sets there. Look at that. A knowledgeable crowd here in Germany too, really enjoying their table tennis. A lesson for everyone back home. Go for your shots.